Tonight, there is a full moon in the sky. Whether you can see it or not, from where you are right now, it is there, full, complete, round like a cycle that ends, white and cold like a truth waiting to be recognized. The June strawberry full moon, the one native North American cultures named this way because it coincided with the ripening of the first strawberries of the year, the moon of the fruit that finally arrives, the moon of the harvest of what was planted long before. This moon is not only an astronomical object, it is a cosmic mirror, an amplifier, a reminder that cycles are not abstract concepts, but realities that happen in the sky and in your body and in your life if you learn to see them. The full moon has marked moments of closure and opening in practically every human culture that has ever existed, not because people were superstitious, but because they observed, and what they observed was real. The moon exerts a gravitational influence on water, on the tides, on fluids, and the human body is approximately 70% water. If the moon moves the oceans, what does it do to us? Farmers of the past planted with the new moon and harvested with the full moon. Midwives in hospitals in the last century wrote in their journals that births clustered around the full moon. Studies on sleep show that on the days of the full moon, the quality of deep sleep changes, not in a devastating way, subtly, but measurably, as if the body responded to something the sky does independently of us. I do not need you to believe in anything supernatural for this meditation to work. I only need you to recognize what you already know, that cycles exist, that nothing alive escapes cycles, that the body has cycles, relationships have cycles, projects have cycles, energy has cycles, and that the full moon, whether through gravitational influence or through the symbolic reminder its presence in the sky gives us, is the moment in the cycle when what has reached its fullness can be released to make space for what comes next. Science still debates the exact mechanisms, but there is something that needs no debate. Tonight, under this full moon, something in you is ready to be released. Something has reached its fullness, like the strawberry that ripens, and from that fullness, it is ready to be let go, to make space, so that what comes afterward has fertile soil where it can grow. Give it a like right now as your first signal to the universe that you are ready to release what no longer serves you and open yourself to your new reality under this full moon. Find the most comfortable position you can. If you can lie down, do it. If from where you are, you can imagine the moonlight entering through the window, Even if it is not actually happening, use that image. The June full moon tonight illuminates the world with that particular light only the full moon has. Softer than the sun, colder, more silent. A light that does not burn but reveals. Close your eyes, and inside your closed eyelids, imagine that light, silver, cool, still, as if the moon were looking directly at you, and in that gaze there were no judgment and no expectation, only recognition. The moon saying to you, "Here you are, I see you, and what you carry, what you keep, what you have not been able to release, tonight has a place to go." Breathe. Not in any special way. Just breathe. And let the air that enters bring with it some of that freshness of the June night. The air of summer nights has a different quality from the air of any other time of year. Softer, more charged with something that has no exact name but feels like promise. That air enters now and circulates through your interior, carrying that promise with it. Notice how, with every breath, the body becomes a little more still. Not because you are doing something to make that happen, because the body knows how to find the rest when the mind gives it space. It is its natural state, the state of alertness, tension, constant vigilance that we know so well is the learned state, the state we have become used to, because modern life demands it so much that we forget there is another one available. But deep rest is older than stress. It is the original configuration of the system. Tonight, under the moon, the system remembers what it always knew. And as you exhale, something leaves with the air. You do not have to know exactly what it is yet. The body knows. The subconscious knows. Just let the exhalation carry what is ready to go, like the outgoing tide, carrying away everything the beach no longer needs to keep. Inhale freshness. Exhale what has already completed its cycle. Inhale moonlight. Exhale what weighs. Inhale openness. Exhale the closure that no longer serves as protection, but as a limit. Keep breathing this way for a moment, without counting it, without measuring it, with the freedom of someone who is under a full moon on a June night and does not have to get anywhere. There are 3 things this moon can do for you tonight. 3 movements the full moon has facilitated in the ceremonies of dozens of cultures over thousands of years, not because someone invented it, but because they discovered it, generation after generation, as something that works when done with intention. The June full moon has different names depending on the culture naming it. The Algonquins called it the strawberry moon because of the strawberries that ripened. Some European tribes called it the honeymoon because June was the traditional month of weddings and of the honey gathered at this time. In Celtic cultures, it was the oak moon, the sacred tree of strength and wisdom. In Hindu traditions, it is the moon of Jeshta, associated with fortune and prosperity. Each name points to the same thing. It is the moon of ripening, of the fruit that finally arrives, of what was planted with intention in winter, and after the entire process of growth reaches its point of fullness. It is not a coincidence that you arrived here tonight, under this moon, with what you carry. Something in you has also ripened. Something is ready to be recognized, to be released, to be harvested for what is good in it, and let go of in what no longer serves. This is what the June strawberry full moon offers you tonight. The first is to release. Think, without judging it, of something you have been carrying that is no longer yours to carry. It does not have to be something large or dramatic. It can be as concrete as resentment from a conversation you still repeat in your head, or as subtle as the version of yourself you believe others expect, which is becoming a mask that weighs more than you thought. It can be fear of something that will probably never happen, but that takes up space in your mind as if it were certain to happen. It can be guilt over something you can no longer change, shame over something that already happened and no longer defines who you are unless you decide that it does. Whatever comes first to mind when I ask that question, without editing it, without rationalizing whether it is the right thing to bring here, what came first has something to tell you. Now imagine that you take what arrived, whatever it is, and place it in the bowl of your hands, as if it could have a shape, a weight, a texture, not to examine it, or analyze it, or understand where it comes from, only to hold it in your hands for a moment, to recognize that it was there, that perhaps it was necessary at some point, that it served some function, even if it no longer does. And now slowly, open your imaginary hands toward the moonlight. The full moon has that quality, poets have always known, and quantum physics is beginning to explore the capacity to receive. It does not judge what you bring to it. It does not ask you for explanations. It does not tell you that what you bring is too small to bring or too large to release. It receives. It transforms, like the moon that turns sunlight into that soft silver light that has nothing to do with the harshness of direct sun. Let go toward the moon, toward the night, toward the cycle that ends, and in ending, make space for the one that begins. There is a specific feeling that accompanies truly letting something go. It is not euphoria. It is not immediate and dramatic relief. It is something more like a small opening, like when you loosen a knot that had been tight for a long time, and the fingers can finally move again. As simple and as deep as that. When the body recognizes that it can release something it had been carrying, it responds. The diaphragm moves differently with the next breath. The muscles that had contracted around that weight slightly change their tension. The mind that had been generating looping thoughts around that subject has a moment, brief but real, of silence. Perhaps you notice some of that right now. Perhaps not yet. It does not matter. The process of letting go does not require you to feel it dramatically for it to be real. The moon receives all the same. You can do this more than once. If there is more than one thing to carry, the moon has infinite capacity to receive what has already completed its cycle. Tonight there is no limit to the baggage you can hand over. The second movement is to heal. Healing is not always dramatic. It is not always a clearly separated before and after. Sometimes healing happens in the most silent way. Something that hurt begins to hurt a little less. Something that was closed begins to open 1 millimeter. Something you thought would not recover, surprisingly, shows a sign of life. Imagine the moonlight flowing toward you now, not like a flood, like dew settling softly on plants during summer nights, without violence, without hurry, covering every surface it finds, with a freshness that renews. That light enters and goes where it is needed most. You do not have to direct it. The light knows. It goes toward the place where you store the accumulated fatigue of the last months, toward where the sadness you never finished processing lives, toward the heart that at some point decided to protect itself by closing a little, and perhaps now could open again without the same risk that existed when it made that decision, toward the nervous system that has been on alert for too long, and that tonight, under this moon, can begin to remember that rest also exists. The strawberry full moon in native traditions was also the moon of abundance, not abundance as accumulation, abundance as the ripe strawberry, complete in what it is, perfect in its moment, sweet precisely because it reached the exact point of its development. That abundance of being what you are, of being where you are, of having made it this far, which we sometimes forget to celebrate because we are always looking toward where we still need to arrive. Strawberries are small. No one discards them because of that. They are one of the first fruits of summer, the ones that arrive after the coldest months, and their smallness does not take away their sweetness. It concentrates it. In a small strawberry, there is more flavor per square centimeter than in fruits 10 times its size. What is small is not necessarily scarce. Sometimes it is simply concentrated. You too. What you have built may not occupy the visible space you expected by this point, but in what there is concentration, there is substance, there is a quality that size cannot measure. The strawberry full moon asks you tonight to recognize that, to allow yourself to feel the sweetness of what you already are, of what you already have, of what you already know, before asking for more to arrive. This light entering you reminds you of that, what you already are, what you have already built, what you have already overcome, what you already deserve, even if you have not yet fully received it. Let that light stay. Let it do its work in the way it knows how to do it. Let it heal what can be healed tonight and what cannot yet be healed. At least let it touch it with the gentleness of recognizing that it exists and deserves attention. Healing cannot always be completed in one night. Sometimes what is needed is exactly this: recognition, being seen. The wound that has spent months being ignored because life gives no time for non-urgent wounds, finally finding a moment of attention. Attention does not always heal immediately, but it is always the first step, and the first step is what makes all the ones that come after possible. This moonlight does not promise that tomorrow everything will be solved. It promises that what you brought here tonight was received, that you are not alone with it, that the cycle closing with this full moon also includes the closure of what that wound needed in order to begin closing, and the cycle that opens starting tomorrow with the moon waning and then renewing itself brings with it the space for what comes when that is released. Trust the healing process even if you cannot see it. Wounds close from the inside out. The invisible first, the visible later. The third movement is to manifest. The full moon is the point of greatest amplification in the lunar cycle. What is intended under the full moon has the maximum energy of the cycle available to propel it. Not because it is magic in the sense that someone or something external grants it, but because an intention placed in the state of deep calm this meditation has brought you to. At the moment of greatest receptivity in the cycle, with the clarity that comes after releasing and healing, is an intention of a different quality. It is not the anxious desire that comes from the fear of not having. It is the serene intention that comes from knowing something is already in motion, that the seed has already been planted, that the process has already begun, that what you ask from this state is not begging, but declaring. What do you want to enter your life in this new cycle that begins? Not with the urgency of someone who has waited too long, with the clarity of someone who knows what they want and trust that the moment is now. It may be a quality you want to cultivate, the equanimity you lack when things become complicated, the patience you lose in the moments when you need it most, the courage to do what you know you have to do, but keep postponing. It may be something more concrete, a situation you want to change, a relationship you want to improve, a goal you want to begin taking shape. It may be health, it may be clarity, it may be love, it may be the peace you have been searching for in the wrong places, because you never truly searched for it in the only place where it definitely exists. Before you place your intention, there is a question I want you to ask yourself, not so you answer it out loud, so you feel it. What version of you would appear if there were no longer anything blocking the path? Not the perfect version that never makes mistakes. The authentic version that no longer carries what it has just released under this moon. The version that has received the healing it asked for. The version that lives in the reality it is about to declare. How does that version move through the world? How does it speak? How does it make decisions? What does it do in the mornings that the current version still postpones? What has it stopped doing that the current version still continues doing out of habit? Feel that version. Do not think it. Feel it in the body, in the chest, in the shoulders that no longer weigh so much, in the breath that no longer needs so much effort, in the lightness of someone who does not carry what is unnecessary. That version is not in the future. It is available now. This full moon is the catalyst, not the condition. You do not have to wait until the next moon to be that person. You can begin tonight, in sleep, to inhabit it. Whatever you want to manifest, place it now in the center of that moonlight surrounding you. Not as a request, as a declaration. Like someone planting a seed with the certainty that the soil is fertile, that the climate is favorable, that the moment is right. And as you declare it, notice the difference between declaring from scarcity and declaring from abundance. From scarcity, the declaration sounds like a plea. I need this because I lack it. From abundance, the same declaration sounds like alignment. What I want is already congruent with who I am, with what I am building, with the direction in which I am moving. This moon does not respond well to please. It responds to alignment, not because it is capricious, because physics works that way. What is emitted in a state of certainty has a different frequency from what is emitted in a state of lack. And that frequency makes all the difference in how the subconscious organizes resources and attention toward what is sought. Declare from certainty. It is done. It is already on its way. I am already ready to receive it. That is the posture of one who harvests, not one who begs. The posture of summer arriving, knowing that winter fulfilled its function and that the earth is ready. The full moon amplifies that declaration. It carries it beyond the limits of your conscious mind. It installs it in the subconscious that tonight, while you sleep, we'll work with it. We'll reorganize whatever needs to be reorganized so that what you asked for has space to materialize. This is the work of full moon nights, the work that is not seen because it happens while you sleep, but it happens. There's something I want you to know about intentions set under the full moon before you sleep. They do not necessarily manifest in the way you imagine. Sometimes what you asked for arrives exactly as you asked for it. But more often, it arrives in ways you did not anticipate, through paths you could not have planned, with timing you did not control. Manifestation is rarely obedient in its form. It is creative. It is unexpected. And that is precisely what makes it powerful. If you knew how it was going to arrive, you would have already made it arrive yourself. The fact that you asked the cycle, the cosmos, the subconscious, the universe, or whatever you want to call that intelligence greater than you, is precisely because it can arrive through paths your conscious mind cannot calculate. Trust that what you intend tonight has more possibilities of materializing than your rational mind allows you to believe, because that mind, with all its brilliance, sees only a small fraction of what is possible. And now, gently, let the moon cradle you. The moon has accompanied human sleep since before written history existed. Mothers singing lullabies while looking at the moon. Travelers are calculating their route by the light the moon gave them. Poets finding in the moon the mirror of their inner states. Shamans and priests and philosophers and farmers and children who once looked at the full moon from their window before sleeping and felt something they could not name, but that was real. Tonight, you are part of that immense lineage of people who closed their eyes under a full moon and surrendered to the mystery of sleep with a little more peace than they had when they woke. You are not alone on this night. At this moment, under this same strawberry full moon, there are people on every continent of the world looking at the sky with the same feeling of something sacred and inexplicable that a full moon awakens. That sensation that passes through you when you look at it, and that is not exactly joy or sadness, but something wider than both. Something that reminds you that you are small in a way that does not bring fear, but relief. That there is something greater than your problems, greater than your personal story, older than any worry you may have tonight. That something greater is with you now, in the form of moon, in the form of cycle, in the form of the June night that holds you as you prepare to sleep. Let the thoughts become still now. The moon already has what you have given it tonight. The universe has already received your intention. Your subconscious already has the assignment. There is nothing else to do. The conscious work of tonight is finished. What follows does not require your active participation. The sleep that comes will do its part. It will process, consolidate, cleanse, reorganize. The moon will keep shining even when you are not looking at it. The cycle will keep moving even when you're not awake to observe it. That is precisely what makes sleep so powerful when you enter it with intention. It continues doing what you asked without you having to supervise it. The subconscious works in the dark with greater efficiency than it ever could under the watchful light of consciousness. Now release the need to know how everything you intended will happen. Release the urgency for it to be fast. Release the doubt about whether you deserve it to happen. The June strawberry full moon has received tonight your offering and your request, and cycles, when honored with intention and presence, respond. Only sleep, only rest, only trust. Under the light of the June strawberry full moon, something in you is released. Something in you heals. Something in you begins to manifest in ways you may not yet be able to see, but that are already in motion. Tomorrow, when you wake, the moon will be in the sky, on the other side of the world. But what happened here tonight does not end when the night ends. What is released does not return. What is healed begins a process that continues. What is declared remains resonating in the subconscious and in the field surrounding you. The full moon is the catalyst. The process it begins is much longer than one night. Trust that process with the same faith with which the earth trusts that the sun will rise tomorrow, even though it cannot see beyond the darkness of this night. The new reality you asked for already began tonight. Sleep, rest, good night.